Good evening. You know me. I'm not one to faff around. I am action centric. That means that I get on with it. You'll find a lot of people who do live stuff. They go, "You've spent the first 20 minutes, no, 20 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes going, oh, we'll wait for some people to arrive. Or we'll wait for some people to arrive." But sometimes there are no people. I think uh, I'm getting double figures for me on a daily basis. It's not so much. It's not. It's not about figures. It's about information. Getting that information out there, and giving people the opportunity to ask questions, which you may wish to do. Maybe you'll find that your questions have already been answered, and you would know that if you subscribed. Anyway, another place to get your questions answered is at the Crucial Survival Mastermind community. That's a group of people who are just coming together, sharing information, and yeah, some pretty cool people there. Right, so we're going to talk about time. I noticed in my calendar today, it is day 1 of 17 days off work. Now, you may say, "Hey, Steve, you work for yourself. You can take whatever time off you want." But I'm beholden to my client, and but I've taken a few days off to fit them together, and I know exactly how many days off I have. I have 17 days off. That is a bounded set of amount of time, and I pretty much know what's going on in it. My birthday, Christmas, second Christmas, which is much like second breakfast if you're a hobbit, but it's a whole Christmas. What else? New Year, but I don't go out the New Year generally. Sometimes for a house party, but it's a bit COVID-y, so I'm probably not going to bother with that. So yeah, I'm gonna do some writing, do some videos, do some DIY. Got my prep box so that no mouses get all of the stuff, which is nice. Stick that in the garage. Change my water in my water box, things like that. You know, that's a piece of bounded time. However, about a year ago, in the midst of COVID, all of the clients, can you imagine teaching outdoors? How that entire market just went, yeah, no clients. I ended up doing some IT work. I had been doing on and off before, but yeah, pays the bills because it was thinned right out. So doing some work elsewhere. So I ended up having 4 months off, which is not so good if you are work for yourself. Yes, so I'm constantly trying to get work, and constantly, and it's like maybe tomorrow I'll have some work, and I'll be trying to, and maybe tomorrow I'll get some work, and I think 4 months later I eventually ended up with some work. That was a piece of unbounded time. I didn't know how long I was going to last. Yeah, I've literally no idea how long that was going to last. But I didn't like prostitute myself to clients who were trying to take advantage. Yeah, and sort of lay down and die, if you like. They shot themselves in the foot, basically, because when all the rates go back up again, all of their contractors pissed off. Well, it serves them well. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is unbounded time. Now, if I'd have known I was going to have 4 months off work, I'd have pissed off to Canada, rented a cabin, and wrote 3 books and just got on with it. That would have been nice, but I was faffing around so much, not having work, burning through savings, trying to do stuff, trying to. I couldn't like sit down and write a book. I got too much time trying to get work, getting agents, clients, trying to pivot slightly, learn new skills without time, and wondering whether or not they're going to be useful. But the answer was to just keep going. That's what I found. And I had to do that for 4 months. Just keep going and going and going. I didn't know it was going to be 14 months. I just kept going and going. Not 14, twat. 4 months. Just keep going and going and going. And that's what you have to do in an emergency. It's like a flood. You might see it coming. Might do. Oh, that's getting a bit higher. This is a slow burn emergency. The way it starts, and it's like, and there you go. There is a shitload of water. Now it might be like, say, Bangladesh, where you just lose vast swathes of civilization and terrain, and it's very sudden and dissipates relatively quickly. Or it might be like Somerset in the UK quite a few years ago now, where it just wasn't going anywhere, and it was just getting higher and higher and higher, and it's like, is this going to stop? Is this going to get lower? How are people eating? Yeah, where is that a clean water supply? What are we doing with the houses? Are they going to fall down? It's a foundation. What happened was they didn't know when it was going to end. They had a meteorological sort of idea, but they just had to keep going and just try and do as much as they could to get from where they were to where they wanted to be. And where do you want to be? Well, in a survival situation, you want to get home, which means you need to get rescued, which means you not to basically everything that you do needs to get you further towards that goal. Now, it might be the case that within planning, you can go, hey, we'll just dip down a bit to come up a bit to on balance get closer to our goal tactically. But if not, then if you've got a very short amount of time, you just do as much as you can to get further to your goal. And it might be that you just have to stay stable, but you might not know when it's going to end. And it's very, very difficult. Let's say 4 months. I'm not saying I was in despair, but I did note that there was a resource problem. I could see my resources thinning out, my savings in a nutshell. And hello, this isn't going to be much fun at all, because that only lasts so long. Yeah. Now what do you do? And I've had problem with money way back. And yes, I was collecting wood, shooting rabbits, and eating wild food. Not entirely. No, I did go through the rice and the 5 spice and things like that. But Yeah, Five Spice, Marky McIntyre sketch. Just look up the Five Spice sketch. It's quite fun. So yeah, in summary, after my waffle, unbounded time is something that which has no end. And you can see your resources depleting, but you don't know if anything's going to get better. You don't know if you're going to get rescued. But what you have to be doing is using those resources as best you can to maintain a path towards your goal, as if nobody's coming. Now, if you've had a phone call with somebody and they know where you are, and they say, we're going to be no more than 3 days, then you probably can assume they're going to be there within 12 weeks, to a certain extent, you don't have to ration to the extent that you might end up with kidney failure. But you need to be able to look at your resources, look at the way they're depleting, and make best use of them. Let me know if you have had any such unbounded emergencies, unbounded time in an emergency. Because it's really interesting. It doesn't happen very often. It happens with floods, sort of slow burning floods. I had a flood where I lived, and it's just like, we didn't know it's going to end. We knew it was not going to be a week, but we didn't know it was going to end or get worse. But we just kept going and going and stabilizing ourselves as much as possible. Yeah, with the resources we had. And so, yes, let me know what kind of emergencies have you had which had this sort of unbounded problem. I'll tell you a story. I wasn't going to tell you a story, but I've did a search and rescue for a colleague within the RLI. And we didn't find him. He'd unfortunately slipped and hit his head and drowned. And searching for him was a very strange experience, but we kept going and going and going and going. And we didn't know when we were going to stop, because the search and rescue will generally stop when, in a nutshell, the probability of there being a problem with the search and rescue people outweighs the probability of finding the person alive. Because, for instance, if someone's been in the sea for a month, like 4 months, 10 months, chances are you're not going to find them. And if you try to search in the places you thought they were going to be, now where are they? And if the weather's potentially bad, there's risk here. And that was not what happened here. We had an emotional roller coaster. We maintained professionalism, which was very difficult, but we'd had to do it before, and we were doing it now. And we just searched and searched and searched, but it was unbounded. And it was every time the boat went out, it was like the first time. It was like, okay, we're going to do the job. We don't know where he is. We're going to search like this. Our goal is to find him, and this is what we're going to do. And we're going to do this. And unfortunately, we didn't find him. He washed up onto the beach. But that was the end of that. Unbounded time problems are exceptional. and difficult to deal with. And I'll be putting extensive information about this in the book, about planning against time and unbounded time, and resource depletion, because it's very, very difficult to deal with. But on that note, I'll speak to you soon. Tomorrow, maybe. Take it easy. Bye.